2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn dope into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Daily Dispatch brought to you by DFSArmy.com, and I am your host today, BoomersDaddy. Joining me is the one, the only, the Los Angeles native, born and bred, I want to say?
Not born, but bred.
Okay, the Los Angeles native bred, Mr. Bear. How are we doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
It's Wednesday mornings are always crazy. They're even crazier when you've got a 2-year-old running around. So I have to say that I've successfully not pulled out my hair this morning so far.
Oh, that's a positive.
Yep. But he's been down now, and we've got a nice show to do. We've got a lot of research to still get done. Want to run down. We're going to jump right into it today. We're not going to dilly-dally. I do want to run down the injuries, because that's always the biggest thing that we have to worry about today. So, so it looks like Jonathan Isaac and Jimmy Butler are both going to play tonight. Yep. C.D. Osman is questionable with the back. Dwayne Wade is still out celebrating the birth of his new baby with Gabrielle Union, one of those. Derek Jones and Jarrett Allen are both questionable. C.J. Miles is out. Emmanuel Mudiay and Kevin Knox, and this is a big one that we'll talk about here in a little bit, they are both starting for the Knicks. Russell Westbrook obviously is out. Courtney Lee is out. Nikola Mirotic, this change just came in the last, I'd say, 45 minutes or so, is probable now. Probably going to play. Andrew Wiggins, Elfrid Payton, and Jeff Teague, all questionable. Omri Caspi, out. DJ Wilson, out. Yvonne Rabb, out. Rael Nuto, out. Rudy Gay, out. Pau Gasol, out. Lonnie Walker, out. Mo Harkless, out. Wesley Matthews is probable. Damian Lillard is probable. And then that seems to be about it. So we've got some clarity on some stuff that we didn't have clarity on about, I'd say, an hour or two ago, but still a lot you got to watch out for. So obviously stay tuned to our chat to make sure that you get all the essential pivots going back and forth, and we will make sure that we break it down for you and how we personally are going to handle that. And that's a big thing. You know, we're not just regurgitating usage rates and telling you, what the information is and everything like that. When we give pivots, we're talking about pivots that we're personally doing ourselves. How we're handling the situation, whether we like it, whether we don't, and exactly what we are advising you to do because of what's going on. So, and we do that throughout the whole night. It's kind of nice. Last night we got late word that Drebko was starting. We told you to put him in your lineups, and he crashed. So
he smashed.
So I believe it was 10x on DK. It was really nice. So
yeah.
All right, let's hit it off. We're gonna go by FanDuel position eligibility. If we like plays, obviously we like them from a basketball standpoint, and we'll kind of let you know if we are more site specific. But mostly, I've had a lot of people ask this. Mostly it's from a basketball standpoint rather than a specific site or a favorable site, one side or the other. So let's talk about point guards here.
Yes.
John Wall.
Future Laker.
Whatever.
So Keith has a rule of thumb that he doesn't play Wall over 10K. John Wall on FanDuel today is 10-2. Here's the thing. The Wizards have been bad. They've been really bad on both sides of the ball. Wall has been putting up numbers without issue. But the rest of the team is pretty bad. Obviously, Beal's a great player. The Cavs just played last night. They kicked butt last night. Played really well. So going into Washington on the second night of a back-to-back, the only guys I really like from this game are some of the backups from the Wizards. And we'll talk about who those guys are here coming up shortly. But I don't know if I can play Wall, A, at that price, and B, at a game that I don't think we'll see all 4 quarters from him.
I can agree with you on a lot of that aspects. I think that in tournaments he's very much in play at 9-1 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I'm not touching him.
Yeah, too much.
So I just can't do it. So it's one of those. I still don't know why this team is as bad as they are. I see what you're saying with the back end of a back-to-back with Cleveland going into Washington, but there's the spread is 12.
Yeah.
There's nothing in my head from a basketball standpoint other than maybe the fact that Cleveland has a letdown game after pulling out a victory last night.
Yeah.
That thinks that it's going to be a 12-point game. I think this is going to be a close game throughout, and so I don't mind using some of these guys on, where I think their price is fair. And for me, for John Wall, that would be DraftKings and DraftKings only. So that's just the value is too much at point when we're getting Ben Simmons against Portland or against Orlando at 9,500.
Yeah.
We're getting Damian Lillard, and we'll talk about both of these guys here, but we're getting Damian Lillard for 93, Kyrie for 89, Kyle Lowry for 85. I mean, point guard is loaded on FanDuel. I don't feel the need to go there. So
I don't disagree. Let's talk about Ben Simmons, shall we?
Oh, we shall. We shall. Mainly because they are adding their, I don't want to say prized possession, but they're adding their new piece today in Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
You would think that because of who Jimmy Butler is and has been over the course of his career, that's going to take a little bit of, usage away from guys like Embiid and Simmons. But as we know in basketball, usage isn't the tell-all be-all. I am interested to see how the industry kind of gauges this new big three. If it's going to lower their ownerships, I'm going to take shots in tournaments. Because you're telling me that we're going to get a guy with 50-point upside at a lower percentage than we would have, if the status quo hadn't changed? I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We don't know. And so I think you're probably going to see a lot of people, like you said, not want to mess with it because they just don't know. Personally, for cash games, I'm staying away from the situation because we just don't know. He's still going to play as many minutes as he can handle. Hopefully he remains as aggressive as he's always been. But do we see the ball out of his hands for a little bit now and Butler taking some of those responsibilities on? Does that limit some of his assists upside? I don't know. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just kind of putting the scenarios out there. I just don't know.
I mean, yeah. And that's why I said if the industry is going to shy away from this situation in tournaments, I really don't mind taking a shot.
Yeah.
So, it's a good matchup. He's gonna have a lot of Evan Fournier on him. He's probably gonna have some Aaron Gordon on him at times. It's not a situation I'm going to shy away from. I probably wouldn't do it in cash, just because the situation is unknown. But like you said, in tournaments, it's a very, very, very good place to attack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your boys, Damian Lillard. Let's talk about all the point guards in this game real quick, okay? Because I've got a situation for you, and I want to bounce it off of you. I love the idea of a Damian Lillard and Rajon Rondo ping pong, because to be completely honest, like I don't think Lonzo's the answer in LA, man. I mean, I know he's young. I know he's got his whole career ahead of him, and I think he's going to be a very good player. Okay, but right now, if they had any inclination that Lonzo was going to be part of the solution and part of the answer there, you're not, like, these rumors for John Wall are not coming out. They're not, because the situation, or the situation that presented itself was, okay, we can sign Rajon Rondo, he can help teach Lonzo, and we're signing Rondo to a 1-year deal, and then Lonzo's going to take it over again next year, like the majority of the point guard duties. You're not offering Brandon Ingram and whoever else they did for John Wall if you have any sort of faith that Lonzo Ball's your answer at the point guard position.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, in my perspective, I think he is a force on the defensive end. I think he is certainly, in the top echelon of defensive guards. I think the Lakers are at a point where they need more from their point guard. One of the whole premise of LeBron signing here, from a purely basketball perspective, was he wanted to be able to come to a place where he didn't have to do everything and handle the ball, do all the playmaking, and maybe extend his career out a little bit. And Lonzo's not that guy, at least right now. At this point, he's basically he moves the ball, yes, and he'll hit. His 3-point shot has improved. We've seen a little bit of a change in his form, and it's a little bit better. But he's not driving to the rim. He's not really making his floaters. He's just offensively, he's not there. And Magic and Rob Pelinka, they want a dog at point guard,
which is part of the reason why they went out to get Rondo. I mean, right. The only thing that you can say about Rondo's game is he does not have a jump shot. Now, he can get hot for a game or two, but that's not his strength. His strength is court vision. His strength is keeping everybody involved, driving to the rim. He's not even a good... it still boggles my mind that any sort of guard whatsoever can't be a good free throw shooter, but he's not a good free throw shooter either.
No, he's not.
Which really does hurt you when part of your game is getting to the rim and driving. But that's why they went out and got Rondo, is because he is a dog.
He is a dog.
He just has faults in his game.
Well, and that's okay. I think at this point, at this stage of his career, he knows what those faults are, and he doesn't try to extend himself and do things that he can't do. He gets to the rim. He's been hitting his threes. It's crazy. He's been doing what he needs to do. Getting into fights. What Rondo does. So, yeah, I think back to the slate, though. I don't want to get too off topic here. I think if I'm looking at any of these top point guards, I think Lillard is way up there. Probably more than Wall and Simmons for me is going to be Lillard. Dame loves playing the Lakers, man. He's killing everyone this season, not just the Lakers, but he does love beating up on us. And then my favorite point guard in terms of points per dollar is probably going to be Kyrie. You and I talked about Kyrie a lot on the show from the very beginning of the season, how he just wasn't himself. You could see he didn't trust his body fully yet. Well, that's past him. He's arrived. He gets the Bulls, which is a fantastic matchup for him, for anyone, particularly Cards. Playing at home. I mean, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I really do like Kyrie a lot today. He's he's back, man. But being back doesn't constitute into wins. They have to win tonight. Otherwise, you're going to start seeing some of the same chatter around the Lakers. You're going to start seeing with the Boston Celtics a little bit if they can't beat the lowly Chicago Bulls tonight, or if it goes into overtime, or it's like only a 1 or 2 possession game. Like, they have to come out and show progress. And we'll get to another guy that I think needs to assert himself, a couple guys that need to assert themselves a little bit more in this Boston rotation as well. But yeah, you're right. For dollar per point on Fanduel, I love Kyrie. Now, he's an even better play on DraftKings, I think, because he's 8K.
Wow.
That's a big wow. It's hard not to play Kyrie in a lot of tournaments over there.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
So, but you're right. I mean, Damian Lillard, I love him. Going against the Lakers in LA, the last 3 matchups in LA over the last 3 years, he's put up a 50, a 46, and a 40. So, he doesn't have a problem. He doesn't have the Ryan Anderson syndrome. Let me put it that way. So, let's talk about Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Mike Conley going against Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the best overall defense in the NBA right now.
Yep.
It's a little hard for me. I love what I'm seeing out of Conley this year. Everybody was like, Mike Conley, coming out of that game against Denver, Mike Conley sucks. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And then, he's too inconsistent for me. Well, he was only inconsistent for about 3 games, and then he kind of kicked it right back up. I would say his range of outcomes is anywhere between a 30 to a 55, because that's what we've seen so far this year. Especially in this matchup.
Yeah.
I don't mind him for cash, but I don't know because we know we're going to get the minutes, we know what we're going to get out of him, but I don't know if I can get the upside in tournaments that I need out of Conley today at this price.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm probably not going to have much, just given the matchup. So I'm with you there.
Okay. Point guard situation for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Derrick Rose, Jeff Teague against New Orleans. Fantastic matchup, but they're both kind of priced out of my liking. Rose is 72, Teague is 67. DraftKings had Teague mispriced the other day.
Big time.
He was 4,300. He's only 5,600 now. I could probably still do Teague if he plays over on DraftKings. I'm not touching him on FanDuel though.
Yeah, it's a little bit expensive, even though it is really a great pace and a great game. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think it's a little bit too high priced on FanDuel. If I'm going to be in that range, I'm gonna go flock to Goran Dragic versus Brooklyn. Phenomenal matchup there. Good pace. I mean, ADVP off the charts.
See, I'm on the other side with that one, but I'll let you finish.
Well, so the problem with the other side is we don't know. So for those of you that didn't get to see it, or hopefully you didn't see it because it was gruesome, Karis LeVert dislocated his ankle. It looked like he broke everything in his leg, but
yeah, it looked as bad as Gordon Hayward's did.
Pretty much, yeah. It was pretty gruesome. Fortunately, though, he's not going to need surgery, and it's only dislocated, and he might be back in a few months. So glad for him. Great kid, great season, great ball player. Sucks to see that happen to such a good guy. But so what's probably going to happen is you're going to see more Spencer Dinwiddie. You're going to see more Alan Crabb. You might even see some more Shabazz Napier. For them, we don't know. It's the first game that LeVert's not there, so we'll have to see. Obviously, you're going to see more D'Angelo Russell, but FanDuel move him over to the shooting guard, and then DraftKings you can get him on either position. So, and he's priced way up, by the way. But yeah, D'Angelo Russell.
Oh yeah, on FanDuel he's. I don't know if I can touch him on FanDuel. Not at 75.
Not at that price,
especially with the way that the position scarcity is kind of laying itself as of right now. I'm talking about Spencer Dinwiddie. Yep. I love Goran Dragic, and this is a great ping pong matchup.
Yep.
I really, really like Spencer Dinwiddie today. I think that he's going to get the bulk of the run today. I also think that D'Angelo Russell is going to get a lot of run as well, and you're going to see some Shabazz Napier in there.
Yep.
But at 5,800, you're telling me that I'm going to get the uptick in ball handling, the uptick in minutes, and don't get me wrong, FanDuel did a good job. They priced him up. You have to think about it a little bit.
Sure.
I just think that that you can, if you're telling me that I can get Spencer Dinwiddie or Colin Sexton right now at the same price on FanDuel, I'm going Spencer Dinwiddie today.
So am I.
Or Derek White for 200 cheaper, it's still Dinwiddie.
You could even play both those guys, man. Right? I mean, both mid-price, both good matchups. I'm okay with both of those guys. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Derek White. He had that, one bad game. That was his first start, literally.
Back, yeah.
I mean, it was his first game back. It was his first start. And, there's going to be ups and downs with him. He's going to get every chance to run with this. They're not going to go away from him just because he has one bad game. Pop's put the faith in him, and he's going to keep going. But, he's 5,600 going up against Phoenix. This game, for all intents and purposes, should stay close.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right there with you, man. One more guy in that range that I might have a little bit of interest in might be for tournaments, Ricky Rubio. We've seen Rubio go nuts. He's done it before. Playing at Dallas, Dallas outside of, small forward is not the greatest defensive team this season. So I could maybe see some Rubio. It's definitely a pace-up game for Utah. Most games are. I don't like the total on that game, which is the norm for Utah now. It wasn't early in the season, but it's kind of come down to earth again. And then it's projected to be a close game. Utah's favored by 4.5 points. Nothing, crazy, nothing outrageous. Probably like Donovan Mitchell a little bit more in that matchup, but I can certainly look at Rubio if I want to take a few shots at some exposure.
Yeah, I'm probably going to stay away, but I mean, you brought up a valid point. He's playing well, man. He's playing really well, and for 6,500, again in this matchup, I think it's a good option. I like another part of this game better, but I can definitely see it. So he should carry lower ownership, and we've seen it. Pace doesn't mean anything to Rubio. He can, because of the fact that he can rack up the assists and rebounds, and all he's got to do is score 15 to 20 real life points, and he can put up a 50 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, let's move on to shooting guard here. DeMar DeRozan gets Phoenix. He's under 9K.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's hard not to love, to be completely honest.
I will say this though, the one thing that I think may have lowered his ownership here over the last few slates that the Spurs have played is, well, they've got two other guards now in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. DeRozan is still the man. Like there's no mistakes about that. It's DeRozan.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got no fear in playing him, especially versus Phoenix, where he might actually see a lot of Ariza, because now that they have, they start Forbes, White, and DeRozan, correct?
Yes.
So you might see Booker on White, and you might see some Trevor Ariza on DeMar, who's a good defender, but I'm not scared of it. I think DeRozan can still put up a 50 spot. No issues here. So.
Yep, I agree. So, okay, Drew Holiday versus Minnesota.
Oh, I love that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously really expensive, but
especially if Elf's out again.
If Elf's out again, it's even obviously more attractive. In the pace of this game is going to be maddening. These two teams play pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have a hard time not playing Drew. Obviously, he's the highest price shooting guard on FanDuel today, so it kind of goes without saying. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be tough not to play him.
Yeah, and I kind of hope that Elf comes back, just because if he does, then it should lower his ownership a little bit.
It will. Yeah.
Actually, it probably at least cut it in half, if not more.
Well, here's the thing for everybody to know, that even if Elf does come back, we've already got word that his minutes will be somewhat limited.
Yes.
So I kind of hope he does come back too.
Yep. Okay, we talked about Bradley Beal a little bit. Let's touch on him because he does have a good matchup in Cleveland. Man, I honestly don't know what to do with this Wizards team.
Yeah.
As far as, like, there's no explanation on why they're this bad, but they are.
Yeah.
I don't see them getting out of it anytime soon. For me, 8,700 on FanDuel is a little bit too steep for Bradley Beal, but 75 on DraftKings isn't a bad little shot.
No, I don't hate it, man. I mean, it's much more stomachable than the 87 on FanDuel, so I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Butler. Or he gets Orlando. This is probably the one quote unquote negative matchup that Orlando has as far as opponents are concerned, and it's not even that negative. We heard my thoughts the other day. Like, I think that this is going to have to be a wait and see. We both think that he's going to have to play nice. And
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I want to take a shot on Jimmy Butler on day one.
I'm not. So that makes two of us.
That'll work. Devin Booker versus San Antonio.
So the thing about Booker is, I mean, to me, he's the epitome of a tournament play. I mean, if he gets hot, it's a wrap, right? I mean, it just is. But if San Antonio, so what San Antonio is notorious for doing, it's Popovich, not the city. He knows Booker is the heart of that offense. He knows that, and he's going to make sure his best defenders. And he's going to scheme defensively to make sure that he doesn't get open. Now, he could still score even with that. That's the talent offensively that Booker is. But at 7,600 on FanDuel, I don't know. I think there are some guys that are less expensive or a little bit higher that I might want to take a shot at instead.
Yep. Not playing Zach LaVine against Boston, are you?
No.
I didn't think so. He's going to see a lot of Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, and I don't mess with that combo. Yeah. If that's what beats me tonight, then you know what? Tip your hat, because you saw something that I didn't, or you took a chance where I wasn't willing to. So
yeah, yep.
Dennis Schroeder versus the Knicks. He's going to see a lot of Frank Ntilikina. He's going to see a lot of Tim Hardaway Jr., Emmanuel Mudiay. I don't know how. Like, we already know who the Knicks are starting. And we know who they're starting for. From what I gather, it's Ntilikina at the 1, Moody at the 2, Hardaway at the 3, and Kevin Knox at the 4, and Robinson at the 5.
Wait, they're starting Moody at the 1, you said, correct?
I said the 2, but yeah, it's flip him and Ntilikina.
So it's Moody, Ntilikina, Hardaway Jr., Knox,
and Mitchell Robinson.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, he's definitely going to see a lot of Ntilikina. There's no question about it.
I mean, that just makes sense, right?
Kind of. What makes sense also is maybe putting him on George. I don't think he can handle George, but I mean, he's big, so you might see him on George. We'll see. I mean, obviously, it doesn't help our listeners, but I think realistically, I think you can see Ntilikina heading over to George to slow him down a little bit, and that might leave like a Moutier on Schroeder, which is delightful. So it's a thing to kind of stick away from in cash, take some shots on at tournaments. We've seen he just put up a 50, Schroeder, versus bad defense. He can certainly do that and more in this spot. I don't hate it, but I'll probably stay away from it in cash. There's a lot of other parts to this game I like for cash games. This is more of a tournament play for me.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to have a lot of Dennis tonight, and I love what he's been able to do. This is something that we've missed in Oklahoma City is when Russ and George and our stars come off the court, being able to sustain things and push still. And when we get healthy, that's what he's going to be able to do. And it's like you said, other parts of this game we love, just not this part. So shooting guard is not pretty today when it comes from a predictability standpoint. One guy who has been pretty solid over the course of the last, I'd say, week and a half, 3 or 4 games, has been Jordan Clarkson. What are your feelings on him?
So I played him last night. It was already hard for me to stomach doing that, but I did. And he did well. He did well. He's going to be seeing probably a decent amount of Beal. I know he doesn't start, but he plays a ton of minutes anyway. They just played last night, traveling to Washington. Like I said, man, I don't know that I want to play any cast. I don't like the situation for them. I know they're priced nicely, but I kind of feel like it's a trap, and I kind of feel like this game gets ugly. And I know Washington has been bad, but with all the things that have been said about them in the media, they're not going to lay down. And at 6,000, I might want to go down a little bit cheaper and play like Redick or Brogdon, over him. I mean, it's more appealing. Or there's one way down there that you and I are both going to be all over here, so that I want to play too. So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at.
There's a couple that I like. If I'm punting at one position today, and if I were to say blanket position, this is where you should be punting today. As of right now, it's the shooting guard position. You're either going to play Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, or you're going to scale all the way down to the bottom. And when I talk about bottom, I'm not talking about guys like in the middle there, like Justin Holiday and Malcolm Brogdon, who we've actually played a lot of this season so far. I'm not even talking about Danny Green or Jaylen Brown. I'm not even talking about J.R. Smith. We're going all the way down. Let's see here. You scroll all the way down. And for me, personally, I'm not going to do this in cash games probably, unless I just absolutely have to. But you're telling me that Garrett Temple's going to get 33 minutes against Milwaukee. You're telling me that David Nwaba, min price, probably is going to get 20-plus minutes. I can't do it in cash, and here's the reason why. We've seen David Nwaba come out and crush with games, and then all of a sudden, gone. Like, doesn't even play the next day. Right. And that's just, a lot of that has to do with coaching, like you said, like you have pointed out. But we've seen that in multiple stops throughout his career. I love Nwaba as a player. Like, the dude had to pay. Think about this. He had to pay to get a D-League tryout. Not even an NBA tryout, a D-League tryout when it was the D-League. And then made the D-League team and then got called up to the Lakers. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and when he played with the Lakers, he was one of my favorite players, man. I mean, he plays, so all those things that you just mentioned, they all kind of reflect in his game. Like, yes. He plays so hard. He's always hustling and diving, and he
takes zero for granted.
Exactly, because he knows this could be his last game, right? It could be his last contract, his last opportunity, and he's got a motor on him. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. I don't know if I can. I mean, if everything that I'm saying holds true about this game, then you're probably going to see a lot more of Nwaba than is being projected. How much is he?
He's
Minimum
35.
price on FanDuel.
Yep.
I mean, that's hard to pass, man.
Yeah, and he is a whopping 3,200 on DraftKings.
Hard to pass up.
So, and like you know, right now, as of this recording, we've got him projected for 25 minutes. I'll take that at min price all day long.
Oh yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
talk about Garrett Temple here real quick.
I like it. Obviously, the matchup's not great, but because Milwaukee's a really good defensive team. But you got a guy that's 4,200 here on FanDuel. He's been playing over 30 minutes a game. We have him here at 33 minutes tonight. Not the best pace game, but that doesn't really matter for him. You know, I mean, it's one of those where, kind of like you said with David Nwaba, I kind of feel the same with Garrett Temple. I mean, he's got the upside. He's super cheap. He's going to play the minutes. So you can punt him if you need to on FanDuel with the drop score. Why not, right? I mean, I think that's kind of that's how I'm approaching him.
Yeah, he's 4K on DraftKings, so I really, really do kind of like him as well. All right, let's move on to shooting guard or small forward here. Giannis, man.
I mean, how do you say no? It's hard.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you know, he obviously is priced way up. We get it, but he's got probably the biggest upside on the board. I mean, you know, you've got Anthony Davis, of course, but he's got the upside. He's got a great matchup. I mean, he should be the staple of your cash games. He should be where you're starting.
Yeah, he's in all my lineups right now.
Yeah.
So,
some other guys here that we like. I mean, obviously Paul George. You know, he's over 10K, which he should be. Going up against the Knicks, you know, at home in Oklahoma. I mean, I don't mind playing both these guys. Obviously, that means you got to go lower everywhere else. But these two guys, you know, Paul George is easily going to hit 50 in this matchup. Obviously, unless he's way off, which tends to happen. But for that price, I mean, you know, if you're not going to play Giannis, you should probably go slide in George instead. That's kind of where I stand. I know you've got probably a lot more to say on Paul George.
Yeah, 10-3, it's not cheap, but it's a great matchup. And if Schroeder's going to see a little bit tougher D, then automatically it's going to slide over to Paul George. So,
yeah.
Kawhi Leonard.
You know, I think Kawhi is going to see a decreased ownership because of the last few games. Game, yeah. Last game, he had some pretty decent projections, really, really good matchup. Just didn't really put up a monster game. I mean, they won, so it doesn't matter. But from a roster perspective, and frankly, I think I might want to stay away myself. Just because, I mean, look, if you're not playing Giannis or Paul, okay, you take Kawhi. But I'm going to be playing one of those two, and I'm also going to be playing, you know, a lot of Drew and Kyrie and Giannis, so it's going to be hard for me to fit him in. And those reasons that I just said is why in tournaments you want to take a shot. But going, you know, most of my builds so far, I don't have much Kawhi.
Yeah, I don't have any Kawhi. It's probably going to burn me. I have a feeling, but you know, there's just too much with paying for Giannis, and then mixing up some Paul George. There's just too much else that I want to get to that I feel like I need to get to in order to be successful tonight. One of those guys is definitely Nikola Mirotic. Going up against Minnesota, don't have to worry about a lot of that. It's probably going to see a lot of Andrew Wiggins. Probably going to see some Dario Saric as well. and might see. We don't know how the Timberwolves are going to run their defensive rotation right now. I'd like to think it's the same, running in Robert Covington in that Jimmy Butler role, but then you add in the defensive liability that is Dario Saric, and it's got to change a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Josh Richardson against Brooklyn.
Yeah. So let me turn the question around here real quick. You have on FanDuel, you've got 7,500 left. You're playing, or 77. You're playing Jay Rich or Mirotic?
Cash or tournament?
Tournaments. Because they both have pretty similar upside.
In this aspect, because it's only $300 difference, and I don't care about leaving $300 on the table. I'm probably going to go with the one that's lower owned, who I think is going to be lower owned, and I think that Nikola Mirotic is going to be lower owned.
Yeah.
One, because he's coming off of an injury and missing a couple games. Two, because he's not facing Brooklyn.
Right.
And three, because you have the question mark of Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis in the same lineup, whereas in Jay Rich, we've seen with Dragic and Whiteside and everybody else in there can still produce a very good game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we're in the same boat there. I like a lot of Mirotic in tournaments here. So yeah, I'm going to be going with that. Where are you on? So the other night, it was announced that T.J. Warren was going to go back into the starting lineup. I told all of our members, hurry up and get him in your lineups. They did, and he smashed.
Well, let's put it this way: he stunk for 2.5 quarters.
No, not that game. The game before.
So not the. Okay, yes, sorry, not the Oklahoma City game.
No, it was the Boston game.
Okay.
He crushed. I mean, he put up over 40, and he was in tons of my line. That was a fantastic night for us. We saw a lot of people winning because Warren, I think it was questionable, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly what it was.
He'd missed shoot around with an illness.
Yeah, there you go, illness. And he crushed. So anyways, back to today, I mean, he starts at the 4, which means I think Rudy Gay has already been out for rest, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to have Aldridge at the 5, and most likely Bertans at the 4. He likes starting Bertans. He did when Gay was out for a little bit. And that doesn't scare me, frankly. I think Warren can do very, very well in this matchup. So he's about $1,300 cheaper than Mirotic. Maybe not the same upside, but he still has some pretty decent upside.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not afraid of it at all. I think it's a good spot.
Yep. Okay, one of the guys I was talking about needs to start becoming more aggressive is actually Gordon Hayward. He's deferring too much, in my opinion, and I think everybody's kind of just stepped back and started to let Kyrie get right. Now they need to step back and let Gordon Hayward get right. For this Boston team to get where they need to go, they have to get guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward. They have to get them playing better secondary pieces, and they have to get right. And a lot of that, we say it all the time. When your shot isn't falling, the best way to get there is to get aggressive, go to the hoop, and get to the free throw line. That's the best way to get out of a slump in basketball. He's got to do it, and he's priced at $5,700 on FanDuel. He is a whopping $5,100 on DraftKings. It's getting to that point to where it's enticing because this is a fantastic matchup.
Yeah.
His price has come down enough.
Yeah.
And if he can get to that point of getting aggressive, he can still smash in 25 minutes.
I'm not going to disagree because he can, certainly. That minutes limited makes it very hard for me. It makes it really hard for me to play him.
Even at 51 on DraftKings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can go play Justice Winslow, right? I mean, you can play Joe Harris. I mean, there's so many guys you can play instead that are not going to see any sort of limits, and I kind of like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he's outpriced on FanDuel, but I do like him at the 5,100 price tag on DraftKings. So,
sure.
Because he's not going to garner any ownership, and I don't know. It just I like Gordon Hayward, man, and I want to see him get out of it. And so maybe this is me kind of trying to push the situation a little bit more than I should, but like the matchup and the price on DraftKings kind of meshed for me, and it's like, okay.
Sure, it makes sense.
Let's talk about Joe Harris real quick before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to play 31 minutes. He's been playing minutes. Now he's got some more shots to kind of help out because, Carousel Vert's taking 18 to 22 shots a game, and not all of those are going to go into D'Angelo Russell's hands or Spencer Dinwiddie's or Shabazz Napier's. They're going to be kind of spread out a little bit more.
Right.
I love Joe Harris tonight. I don't want to pair him with like a D'Angelo Russell, but I don't mind pairing him and Spencer Dinwiddie up.
Are you looking at my lineups here when I'm not looking?
Sure. Screen share. Great minds think alike.
Because that's what I've got. I've got those two a lot. I mean, the prices are phenomenal. The minutes, the matchups. I mean, everything is there. Hard to pass up. And the thing about Joe Harris is he's one of those guys that kind of goes overlooked almost every time. He's a typical white dude. So he can't do it. He's a great shooter. The guy rebounds. He scores. I mean, he's been really good for them. And you're going to tell me that under 5K, a guy is going to play over 30 minutes is going to not be owned. I mean, I want in. At home, I want in.
Yeah, I mean, it's I like it, man. I really, really, really like it.
Yeah, I mean, and it gives you a significant discount off of like Mirotich's and the Richardsons and the Kawhis. Obviously, it's not the same upside, but it gives you that discount so you can go get some other studs in there, and you don't have to worry about him giving you like a 5. He's been pretty consistent. Over the last, there's been a handful of games where he doesn't break 20, but then he'll go and hit 30 and 26 and 29, and it's there. It's definitely there.
Yeah, it's a tournament play only, and this is this has got me kind of salivating now because now I don't want to play. You just kind of talked me out of Gordon Hayward, I think.
For Joe Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to pass on, man. It really is.
Yeah. Okay. One more guy I want to talk about. His minutes limit, it looks like it's being increased to 20. He's min price. Wilson Chandler against Orlando.
I don't know, man. I mean, for min price, if he's your only, on FanDuel, if he's your only punt, sure, you could do that. Otherwise, though, I mean, it's gonna be hard to trust it.
Okay. I just wanted to bring him up because we did get the increase there a little bit. So
someone else I like though, that's not min price, but he's way down there. Again, if we feel that Cleveland coming in on a back-to-back is kind of gets smashed on, I really like Oubre Jr. He's 4,200 on FanDuel. If the game's close, we have him projected at 24 minutes. If it's not and he sees a little bit more than that, I mean, we've seen him light it up. So I'm going to be taking some shots there too.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, let's move on to the power forward position. Anthony Davis, man, against Minnie. Here's the problem. Minnesota has this guy named Gorgie Jang, who has actually performed pretty well against Anthony Davis. I haven't looked to see if he's limited AD at all, but our own our own Milwaukee friend, Mr. Loosemeister, has always pointed out that it's when it's a Gorgie Dang night. And so I'm going to be touching him up and seeing exactly why that, and if that limits Anthony Davis at all. It might be like an NBA BVP where Anthony Davis doesn't do well against Gorgie Dang.
Yeah.
So aside from that, he's got the upside. I think he's going to be lower owned in tournaments because I think everybody's going to flock to Giannis. The injury tilt's always a possibility. I mean, I'll have some shots, but I don't know if it's going to be. He's definitely not a part of the court.
Yeah, he's not for me either. Because I mean, if I'm paying up that much, I'd rather go and play Giannis, right? I mean, but like you said, the intriguing part about that is not because of Gorgie Dang, but because of his price and just kind of the way the slate's being built here. I don't see him having tremendous ownership either. I think a lot of that ownership for those paying up at the spot will probably go to LaMarcus Aldridge versus Phoenix. So that's something to consider. But yeah, I mean, he's got him and Giannis have the same upside, so they're both in play. But I'm probably going over Giannis. I'll have a few shares because you have to. I mean, anytime you got a guy that can put up 80 or 90, you gotta give yourself a chance in tournaments. But I think this is probably the spot where I'm going to be paying down.
Yeah, I would agree. Blake Griffin versus Toronto.
Probably a hard pass for me.
Thank you. Moving right along, LaMarcus Aldridge versus Phoenix.
I mean, probably my favorite spot for power forward. Like I said, if I'm paying up, it's here.
Okay.
He's power forward, yet for some reason him and AD both play center. They start at the center for their teams, but they're still a power forward here. So it's basically Aldridge versus Ayton. And Ayton's not a defender yet. He's not there yet. He will be, but he's not there yet. So he should be able to feast.
Yeah, he's just too skilled offensively to be able to be limited by a guy that hasn't learned to play defense at the NBA level yet. So
yeah.
Okay, so this guy's a hot topic conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Nance. I don't want to say smashed last night because
he did not.
Obviously did not.
He did not.
But he has smash capabilities.
Yeah.
He still didn't do bad.
No.
He still put up, basically 30.
Yeah.
But he didn't reach his ceiling or his upside that we've seen him be able to do before in the past. Like, this guy legit has 40 to 50 point upside. And we didn't see it last night. Now, part of the reason was because Tristan Thompson grabbed every freaking rebound that was available.
True. Very true.
I mean, and Larry Nance still had 12 rebounds, but he didn't have the points or the assists to go with it. So
right.
Tristan Thompson was clogging the paint, and it showed in Thompson.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've already been on the record thinking that this game's going to be a lot closer for me than what you do. I am probably going to go back to Larry Nance tonight.
I don't hate it at all. I think the thing is, game close or not, Nance is going to play. I mean, he hasn't been getting the minutes up until now, and now he's, with all the injuries and with Decker gone, obviously Love gone, George Hill hasn't been there, and then Cedi Osman hasn't been there. So they're thin. And the thing that drives me mad is it shouldn't have taken 4 injuries for Nance to get the minutes.
Nope.
He's probably their best defender. So, it's weird. I don't know what to say. It's weird because I know before Ty Lue got fired, Ty Lue was giving him all the minutes. So yeah, I'm not sure, but either way, they priced him back up again. He's 6,300, not all the way up, but still up. I think if you're going to want to catch it before he hits 7K, now's probably the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Jason Tatum. I think he's a fantastic ball player.
Oh, yeah.
I love the matchup. I'm going to have some shares at 7,500 in tournaments, but there's no way he's even coming close to my cash games.
No.
So,
but
oh God,
the other power forward from the Celtics will have a lot of shares from me.
Hold on, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there, brother.
A lot of shares.
So Wendell Carter Jr. dropped $1,100 just for a matchup against Boston. Probably not going to do it. I love what Carter's been doing, but he's going to see a lot of the guy that we're about to talk about, Markieff Morris, who's actually been very, very good defensively so far. Marcus Morris, who's been very good defensively so far this season.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's going to see Marcus Morris is because they're going to run out Robin Lopez. They're going to run out Christian DiFeliciano for about 30 minutes tonight, 35 minutes tonight. They're going to split those two up. So Wendell Carter is moving back to the 4 a lot, and he's been smashing there, but I'm just not going to be able to do it tonight, even with the price decrease.
It's a tough spot. I agree. It's a tough spot.
Marcus Morris, man.
All in.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is his spot right here.
Okay, but see, here's the thing. If you're going all in on Marcus Morris and you love LaMarcus Aldridge, how are you going to be playing our boy Jeremy Grant? How are you going to be playing Taj Gibson tonight? Or Al-Farouq Aminu?
Well, because I'm playing about 50 lineups. And so I'm going to split up Morris and one of those guys you just mentioned.
Okay. I wanted you to explain to the folks.
Yeah, I might have a little interest in Knox.
No.
Minimal.
No.
With him getting the minutes, and I kind of want to see what he does first.
Yes.
Jeremy Grant versus the Knicks. Are you kidding? Oh, no. Power forwards versus the Knicks. You just lock him in and move on. There's no discussion there. And Grant has shown that he can definitely do that. I have a little bit of interest in Serge Ibaka. Primarily because of what he's been doing. Guy's been a monster. And defensively for Detroit in those, he plays the center basically. So he's going to have Drummond, which is not an easy task. But go look at what Ibaka's been doing.
Oh, I know what he's been doing. It's like taking a flash from the pan and gone back to his Oklahoma City Thunder days.
Yeah, he's been a monster, which is nice to see because I kind of thought he was, falling off there for a little bit. So I'm glad to see he's back.
Yeah, exactly. So for every reason that we, like Serge Ibaka, I think Pascal Siakam's also a good play. They're going to run on the court together, and they're interchangeable there. So that's pretty good. Let's talk about Al-Farouq Aminu, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Going up against Lakers at the 4. He's going to see a lot of LeBron tonight. He's going to see a lot of
Kyle Kuzma?
The other guy, Brandon Ingram, and he's going to see a lot of Kyle Kuzma. So yeah, those are the 3 main guys that he's going to be guarding. Now the question is when they're all on the court together, who's he going to pick up? And it's probably going to be whoever has the ball in their hand.
It'll probably be LeBron more often than not.
Yeah.
Which
if you notice, this is about the first time that we brought up LeBron's name on the show.
Yes, that's right. So here's the thing about Aminu. I love Aminu in pace-up games, and that's what this is. But the issue I have is that whenever you have a guy who is considered to be the defensive stopper on your team, and you have a team like the Lakers who come in with LeBron, who Stotts is basically saying, Chief, you're glued to LeBron's ass, and that's all I want you to do. It kind of takes away from the other end of the floor, which is where most of the fantasy points occur. So I like him in up-paced games. I don't know if I like it as much here.
See, I think that where you're completely 100% accurate, I think where it takes away on the offensive end because it's LeBron and because he's prone to turning the ball over. Let's just be kind of clear about it. Yeah. I think that helps Aminu's abilities a little bit. Because he can grab those steals. He can get those, blocks. He's going to grab some rebounds. It's not like he's going to go 0 for the field.
Sure.
At least he shouldn't.
Sure.
It's the one thing. Like I really like Aminu because I think he's going to have Brandon Ingram on most of the game because of the length. I know I could be wrong, but I like it. I don't think it's a tournament play. I think it's more of a cash type play because I think the defensive end's gonna raise the floor a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to have his shot to fall in order for that to happen. But at 5,300, it's kind of hard for me not to like him. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it a little bit more on what he's done against LeBron teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that it is.
He's 4,900 on DK, so it's even harder to pass up on him over there. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. I didn't think about that, and you brought up a good point. So, all right, let's talk about centers here. I'm just gonna roll down a list. You tell me yay or nay, and then there's a couple guys that we're gonna talk about here.
Okay.
Joel Embiid.
So obviously, yes, but he's really expensive.
He is.
I think he may have priced himself out of my pool.
For today, I think so.
Yeah, for today, sure.
Karl Anthony Towns.
I mean, if I'm gonna pay up, I really like Towns here.
I don't.
Primarily because I love when Towns is in a game that is insanely fast-paced, and more so, I'm just going to make sure I have these numbers correct. When you look at the center position, it's actually one of the better places that New Orleans has been defending, so maybe not as much. So let me reiterate. My top tournament center is Whiteside. I'm going to start there. Now, will I play some Towns? Yeah, probably. I don't hate it. But at the same time, I think if I'm already paying 10.5, why wouldn't I just pay 500 more for Embiid, right? I mean, he's up there. So,
can I give you a stat real quick while you're talking about this?
Yeah.
Okay. In the last 3 seasons, Karl Anthony Towns has played the New Orleans Pelicans 7 times. He has played in the games that he has played at least 27 minutes. He has never broken 50.
Wow. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, it is. It's tough.
So, now, I say that, and it looks like as he gets more skilled offensively, the points go up, but he doesn't. The price is dictating it here for me, at least on FanDuel. At 9,500, I don't mind it on DraftKings, but at 10.5, I like too much of the mid tier in order to mess with this.
Yeah, that's fair.
So okay, so you said Whiteside. He's been absolutely he just Whiteside's, even in my player pool today, he crushes Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He just goes off. I love Yusuf Nurkic tonight. I love Steven Adams tonight. They're both 8K. This, for a lot of my builds, is probably where I'm going to be. And I'm going to probably work my way down. I'll have some Whiteside. He'll be the highest I go. But a good portion of my builds is going to be right around the Steven Adams and Yusuf Nurkic part.
So the thing about Nurkic, it's outside of maybe some Lillard, I don't have much of the late game. And you could certainly, get your exposure there through Nurkic. he's a tournament-only play because he's just super risky because the guy can't keep his damn hands to himself.
No, but when he does, he likes playing the Lakers.
He does. He definitely does like playing the Lakers. No question there. He plays us very well. That's for sure. But if I'm going and I want to play Kyrie and Giannis, it's going to be hard for me to fit in a high-priced center. So
he's only $8K.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like, do we know anything final on Jared Allen yet?
Nope. Sure don't. Because when we recorded the pod on Monday, he wasn't questionable then either. Right. And he's not now.
Right.
And I don't even want to talk about him because of the fact that, I loved him the other night and got our VIPs loving him too.
Oh, yeah.
And then it kind of just deteriorated from there.
That sucked.
Steven Adams against New York, yes. Do not buy into an Enes Kanter revenge game. He does not do well in these situations. He's got the two games where he played against Steven Adams in the Thunder last year. He scored a 17 and I think a 27 on Fanduel. So Steven Adams, even to his former stash brother, is not. He doesn't take any prisoners. So let's talk about Tristan Thompson. 6,100, absolutely went off last night. Gets to go against Dwight Howard tonight. We've had a lot of people saying that Tristan Thompson's back and he's the leader of this team and everything like that. Let's make it, in my opinion, there isn't a leader on this team. It's Kevin Love, if you want to say it is, but there isn't a leader because the situation is so fluid, and it hasn't been established right now under the new coaching staff. I don't know if I can play Tristan Thompson tonight at 6,100. I think he's past my price range on FanDuel.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that's all you have left for a center. You've got Tristan, you've got Brook Lopez, you've got Jonas Valanciunas.
Is Jarrett Allen playing?
No.
Okay.
Because that's an easy question.
Crap.
If he's playing, what are we doing if he's playing? Right.
Do I have 300 to get JaVale McGee?
No.
Crap.
Right? So the fact that you're struggling to answer is kind of where I'm going here. If you are in a situation on your roster where you fit enough players that you like, you put in, Kyrie Irving, you put in Drew Holiday, you put in Giannis, you played Marcus Morris, you played all these guys, you're not going to be able to find a salary for a 9K center or even a 7K center in Ayton. You got to go down a little bit, right? So now when you're in this range, out of these folks, for me, it's between Thompson, Jonas, and Lopez.
I'll just go play Larry Nance on DraftKings.
Okay, but I'm not on that.
I know. That was just my cheap answer.
It's very cheap.
No, you're right. I mean, you look at what Tristan Thompson's done. You look at the rest of the way that you build your roster and everything like that, and he's going to fit.
He's going to fit. And we can't ignore his numbers. They're there. I mean, they just are. And then I'm looking here, even if you look at, some of our own numbers, our own tools here, it's not the best matchup versus Washington. It looks like Valanciunas has a better matchup than him, defensive-wise. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's close. He hits value at 4x. Tristan Thompson a lot. He's been hitting it a lot. One more guy that I might have a little bit of interest in that's way lower than all those guys is going to be Mo Bamba. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. First reason is there's a lot of size there in Philly.
Lots of size.
And, even if Jonathan Isaac comes back, that's better for them, length, but he'll be limited, and he's more of a small forward. But as far as like their bigs, I could see them moving Gordon to the 3 in certain lineups. Keeping in Vucevic and bringing in Bamba. I mean, they're going to need the size. So you're getting here a $4,000 center that usually doesn't play more than 20 minutes that might be needed a little bit more here. So I don't hate it. And also, go look at Bamba's track record. I mean, he puts up numbers every single game in limited minutes. It's impressive for such a, 19 years old? He's young. Yeah. Versus the Knicks, 17 minutes, he put up a 30.6. Versus the Wizards, 17 minutes, 26.9. Versus the Spurs, 15 minutes, 29.7. Versus Sacramento, he got the 24 minutes, which is what I'm hoping he's going to play here, and he puts up a 32.9. So, obviously it's a big risk. Obviously it's not safe by any stretch. But something to definitely consider.
Yeah, I can get it. I can see it. I understand every part about it. He's along the same lines as a Tyson Chandler for me.
Yeah.
Except in a blowout, Tyson or if the game's like out of hand, Tyson Chandler's going to be on his butt on the bench, and Mo Bamba's going to be on the court getting court time. So
that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. I really, really don't. So it's not something I'm probably going to do a lot of if I do it at all. But I get and I understand the reasoning, and if that's where you decide to go, I can't argue with the reasoning behind it.
So between these two, are you playing Valanciunas or are you playing Bamba? Tournaments.
Probably Valanciunas because I've seen him put up 50 in 23 minutes before.
He sure has. And if any team to do it against, it's Detroit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's probably where I would go.
Right there with you.
And it's just, but you're also talking about a $1,600 price difference too.
Right.
But they're projected about the same. They're projected about the same minutes, and I mean,
yeah. I
just think that the range of outcomes, like the ceiling, we have not seen Bamba actually test yet. Like we don't know what he can do. But I mean, I don't think there's going to be a huge discrepancy in ownership, so I don't have to play that kind of card. But I've seen Joe Val in 23 minutes put up a 50 spot. So I think that'd probably be where I would.
Yeah, same here.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for us today. We're going to have a special guest on the podcast on Friday. Bear is getting out of Dodge of all the fires. Our prayers will stay with you and everybody out there in California. Terrible, terrible thing going on. So, Bear, you got any final thoughts before we hear from you for a while?
Just thanks to everybody for the prayers and for the nice messages and for the thoughts. I think we're about to enter a part of the season where we're going to start to see some movement here with some of these teams. We're going to start, which we already have. We're going to start to see a lot more. You're going to start to hear a lot of rumors. You're going to start to hear a lot of talk in the media. Don't let a lot of that get to you. What are the things that you have a big advantage of for being a member here? And for those of you who aren't members, who just listen to the podcast, your advantage in listening to our podcast, we will guide you through what that means. Between Keith and myself and Luz and all the other NBA coaches here, we're monitoring a lot of these situations. We hear a lot of the interviews, a lot of the press coverage. We're covering a lot of that. And so, if there's a situation that you should kind of stay away from, we'll let you know. But don't let kind of everything you see on Twitter and what people are tweeting about, oh, this guy's going to be traded tomorrow, and don't let that deter from what you're trying to do here. Have faith in us. Let us do our jobs, and everybody will be successful.
Yep, I would have to agree with everything that you just said.
All right, man. I appreciate the time, everyone. Thank you for listening.
No problem. For Bear, for myself, for the DFS Army, we gone.